They believed mankind was a myth, until human ships darkened the stars Sci-Fi. For centuries, they had mapped the galaxy, charted the positions of distant suns, and visited worlds rich with life. They had fleets that could cross light years in months, and weapons capable of destroying moons. Yet through all their power and knowledge, there was one thing that remained a story, a whispered myth told in hushed tones by the older generations: the existence of humans. Many believed that humans were nothing more than a legend. They were said to live on a small, blue planet at the edge of an ordinary solar system, a place filled with water and strange green life forms called forests. According to the stories, humans were clever, strong, and dangerous, but no one had ever seen them. No human ship had ever entered the cluster, and no human voice had ever spoken over the galactic communication network. The idea that such a race could survive alone in the void of space seemed impossible. Captain Eli Harper of the Zalarian fleet, a large and powerful alien force, had always dismissed the stories. He had spent over 40 cycles exploring nearby systems, mapping asteroid belts, and negotiating trade routes with dozens of species. He had fought minor wars, quelled uprisings, and seen horrors beyond imagination. And yet the name human always made him smile. It sounded small, weak, and inconsequential. A race like that could never survive the cold, dark vacuum of space. Eli had grown up on the industrial world of Vardes, a planet filled with factories and smoke clouds. From a young age, he had trained to command ships and fleets. He remembered his instructors speaking about the humans, warning cadets not to underestimate them. "They are clever, yes, but nothing more," they would say. "The stories are meant to scare children, nothing else." Eli had believed them. He had to, because believing otherwise would mean admitting that something existed that he could not understand or control. Meanwhile, on Earth, the humans were preparing for something that no one in the Andarian cluster could even imagine. Commander Luke Mason walked along the docks of the Terran Fleet headquarters. Ships of all sizes lined the port, engines humming softly, ready for launch. Luke was tall, with broad shoulders and a determined face. His hair was short and brown, his eyes steady and clear. He had trained for years, studied galactic navigation, and learned the arts of diplomacy and war. He had seen humans grow from small, limited explorers to masters of their own destiny. "Everything ready, Captain?" a young officer asked, his voice filled with nervous excitement. "Yes, Kai," Luke replied, placing a reassuring hand on the officer's shoulder. "All systems are checked. The fleet is ready. Today we make history." The fleet was small compared to the massive Zalarian forces, but every ship had been designed with care. Humans had learned to survive with limited resources, to improvise and adapt. Their ships were fast, maneuverable, and armed with weapons that combined science with strategy. While the aliens relied on brute strength and overwhelming numbers, humans relied on intelligence, teamwork, and unpredictability. Out in the Andarian cluster, Lieutenant Mara Voss was commanding a scouting vessel. Mara was young but brilliant, known for her keen eyes and quick thinking. She had spent her life chasing rumors of strange phenomena, scanning star systems for anything unusual. The reports of humans had reached her ears, and though she had been told to ignore them, a small part of her curiosity refused to be quiet. As Mara's ship drifted through an uncharted system, her sensors picked up faint readings, energy signatures unlike anything she had seen before. Small bursts of power, moving fast and erratically. At first, she thought it might be rogue ships or some strange cosmic phenomenon. But the patterns were too deliberate, too organized. Someone or something was moving with intelligence. "Lieutenant Voss, are you seeing this?" her second-in-command asked, eyes wide as he scanned the displays. "Yes," Mara replied, her voice calm but tense. "Set a course closer. I want to identify the source. This doesn't match any known species in our database." The ship moved forward, silently cutting through the void. Mara watched as the readings grew stronger. Whatever was out there was approaching fast. The energy signatures were faint at first, but their speed and precision were unmistakable. Her mind raced, recalling the stories of humans whispered in the hallways of the fleet. Could it be true? Could humans really exist? Back on Earth, the human fleet had begun its journey beyond the solar system. Luke stood on the bridge of the lead ship, watching the stars streak past in the faster-than-light travel lanes. He felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Every ship in his fleet carried hundreds of lives, and beyond that, the hopes of a planet that had survived countless dangers. Humans had always been underestimated, always dismissed as weak. That had never stopped them, and it would not stop them now. "Captain Mason," a communications officer called, "we are leaving Terran space. The jump to Andarian cluster will begin in 30 seconds. Luke nodded, gripping the edge of the console. "Initiate jump," he said. A wave of blue light surged around the ship as they entered faster-than-light travel. The stars stretched into lines, and for a moment, everything seemed infinite. On the Zalarian side, Eli Harper's fleet continued its patrol of the cluster. Sensors were active, but nothing unusual appeared. Yet in the back of his mind, a small doubt had begun to grow. Reports of strange energy bursts, unusual readings in distant systems. It was not much, but it was enough to keep him uneasy. The stories of humans had always seemed ridiculous, but perhaps there was more truth than he had allowed himself to believe. Mara Voss' ship moved cautiously toward the source of the energy signals. Suddenly, a streak of light flashed past them, too fast to be a regular ship. The sensors struggled to keep up. "What is that?" Mara whispered, leaning over the console. "It's moving too fast for any known vessel," her second-in-command said. "It's not following normal trajectories. It seems intelligent." Mara's heart raced. She remembered the legends of humans, how they were said to be clever, quick, and unpredictable. Could these readings be the proof she had been searching for? She ordered her ship to follow, keeping a safe distance but trying to maintain a visual. The human fleet had emerged from faster-than-light travel, entering the cluster with precision and coordination. Ships moved in formation, scanning systems and charting paths as they advanced. For the aliens observing from afar, the sudden appearance of so many ships in perfect alignment was shocking. It was not the work of one or two scouts. It was a fleet, moving with purpose. Eli Harper's sensors finally picked up the human ships. At first he thought it was a glitch. "Impossible," he muttered. "These readings, they can't be real." Mara Voss watched the displays, unable to believe what she was seeing. The readings were unmistakable. Humans were here. They were real, and they were not weak. The fleet moved with speed, precision, and a coordination that no one had predicted. Every movement seemed calculated, as if they had anticipated every obstacle before it appeared. "Lieutenant," Eli's voice came over the communicator, sharp and commanding, "identify that fleet immediately. I want to know what we are dealing with." Mara took a deep breath and replied, "Sir, I don't know how to explain it. They are humans." Eli froze. "Humans? That's impossible. They are a myth." "They are real," Mara said, "and they are approaching." For the first time in his life, Eli Harper felt fear. Not the fear of battle, not the fear of losing a fight. This was a fear he could not understand. These humans were supposed to be a story, a fairy tale for young explorers. And yet here they were, hundreds of ships, moving with power and intelligence beyond anything the Zalarian fleet had faced. In the human command center, Luke Mason watched the cluster unfold on the main display. "Prepare for initial scans," he said. "We need to know what's out there before making contact." The human fleet began its silent sweep, sensors probing star systems, scanning for any life or technology. They moved carefully, aware that unknown forces could exist anywhere. Yet they felt no fear. Humanity had always faced impossible odds and had always survived. This was no different. In the distance, the Zalarian fleet gathered, sensing the approach of the humans. Messages were sent in frantic waves, commanders questioning each other, trying to make sense of what they saw. Ships that had never failed in battle were now trembling in place, unsure how to respond. Mara Voss gripped the controls, her eyes wide. She had trained for decades, studied strategy and tactics, and had faced enemies far more powerful than herself. But nothing in her experience could have prepared her for this. Humans, a race she had thought imaginary, were real, and they were coming closer. As the fleets moved toward each other, the tension in the cluster grew. Every alien commander wondered the same thing. How could a myth become real? How could a race thought extinct, or never existing at all, suddenly appear with such strength? Luke Mason stood on the bridge, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. He did not know the impact of this moment, but he knew that humanity's time had come. They had held back for too long. The galaxy had laughed at their myths, dismissed their legends, and ignored their existence. Now, it would see the truth. Mara Voss looked at the approaching human fleet one last time before relaying her findings. "Sir," she said, voice trembling slightly, "they are real. The humans, they are real." Eli Harper stared at the display, trying to understand. He had spent decades preparing for threats, studying enemies, and commanding fleets. Yet this was different. The stories had been wrong. Humanity was not a myth. Humanity was real, and it was coming for the stars. The stars that had once seemed safe, empty, and predictable now seemed smaller, more fragile. The quiet of the cluster was broken by the presence of a race no one had believed could exist. A race that could change the balance of power in ways no one could imagine. And as the humans advanced, moving silently but decisively, Mara Voss realized that everything she had believed about the galaxy, about power, about myths, had just changed. The age of humanity was beginning. The human fleet moved through the cluster like a shadow across the stars. Every ship seemed alive with purpose, engines humming with quiet power, lights blinking in rhythm like the heartbeat of a living organism. On the bridge of the lead ship, Commander Luke Mason watched the displays carefully. He could see the sensors picking up alien signatures, some small, some large. The Zalarian fleet was vast and strong, but Luke had faith in his fleet, in his people. Humanity had always been underestimated. That mistake would be made again today. Lieutenant Mara Voss watched from her ship, her heart pounding. The human fleet was unlike anything she had seen before. Ships moved in perfect coordination, almost as if they were connected by a single mind. Their weapons glowed faintly, scanning the stars with precision. Mara's first thought was disbelief. Her second was fear. She had seen powerful enemies, but these humans were different. They were fast, clever, and completely unpredictable. "Lieutenant, are you seeing this?" her second-in-command asked again, pointing at the display. "Yes," Mara said, her voice steady though her hands shook slightly. "They are real. They are more organized than anything we have encountered. Their movements are precise. They are intelligent beyond anything we know." Eli Harper's voice came through the communicator, sharp and commanding. "Mara, report. What are they doing? Identify their numbers and strength immediately." Mara swallowed, looking at the display. "Sir, I estimate over 100 ships. Their size varies, but they all move in formation, coordinated. Their technology, it's unlike anything in our records. They are humans." "Impossible," Eli said, a note of panic creeping into his voice. "Humans are a myth. They cannot exist. They cannot have fleets like this." "They exist, sir," Mara replied firmly, "and they are coming closer." The Zalarian fleet scrambled to respond. Ships turned and shifted, trying to form defensive positions. The commanders barked orders, activating shields and preparing weapons. But as the humans moved closer, it became clear that their tactics were not random. Each movement seemed to anticipate the aliens' actions. Each maneuver countered a potential threat before it could happen. On the bridge of one of the smaller human ships, Lieutenant Kai Reynolds smiled faintly. All systems are green. Enemy activity detected, but they are reacting exactly as we expected. Continue on course. Luke Mason nodded at the lieutenant. Good. Keep the formation tight. Let them come. We will show them who they thought did not exist. The first encounter happened faster than anyone could have imagined. A small Zalarian scout ship moved too close, attempting to probe the human formation. Before it could escape, a human fighter jet leapt from the main ship, moving faster than any Zalarian sensor could track. Within moments, the scout was surrounded, trapped in a net of energy fields. Its engines were disabled without damage to the ship itself. The crew inside watched in shock as humans moved like predators, not to destroy, but to control. Mara Voss gasped. They didn't destroy it, she said. They immobilized it without killing anyone. Their control, it's precise, almost perfect. Eli Harper growled. They are cheating. No race can move like that. They are breaking the rules of the galaxy. They are humans, Mara replied. They don't follow the same rules as other races. They survive by thinking differently. In the human fleet, Luke Mason watched the situation carefully. He had no intention of starting a war with the Zalarian scouts. Humans did not need unnecessary bloodshed, not yet. They had come to explore, to show their presence, and to prepare. Still, they would not be underestimated. The human fleet moved forward, blocking any escape for the scout. They used careful bursts of energy to hold it in place, protecting the crew while demonstrating strength. Back on Mara's ship, the alien officers were silent. The humans were not attacking aggressively, but their power was undeniable. What do we do now? One officer asked. Mara's mind raced. We need to communicate, she said finally. If they are intelligent, maybe we can avoid conflict, but we must be careful. They are stronger than we imagined. Eli Harper's voice came again. No communication. We observe and report. Do not engage unless necessary. They are a threat unlike any we have faced. Meanwhile, the human fleet continued its slow advance, sensors probing deeper into the cluster. They scanned planets, moons, and asteroid fields, taking data and leaving markers for future exploration. Each ship moved with discipline, and each crew member knew their role perfectly. They were a race of problem solvers, learners, and fighters, all at once. A small Zalarian vessel moved closer to the human formation, attempting to test their defenses. The human ships reacted instantly. Energy shields formed, blocking any attack. Automated drones moved to intercept, disabling engines without harming life. The Zalarian crew panicked, unable to understand what they were seeing. Mara Voss whispered to herself, "They are everything the story said and more." Eli Harper paced in his command center, fists clenched. They cannot be allowed to enter the cluster. They must be stopped. On Earth, Luke Mason received reports from his scouts. The aliens are observing us, he said. They are cautious, but they are approaching. Maintain formation and continue scans. Kai Reynolds nodded. Yes, sir, they are trying to test us. They are nervous. Our display of strength is working. Luke smiled faintly. Good. Let them see what they thought was a myth. Let them realize that humanity is real. As the fleets moved closer, communication attempts began. The humans sent simple signals, universal greetings, hoping to make contact. The Zalarian response was slow, uncertain. Mara intercepted one of the signals and tried to translate it. It's different, she said. It's not aggressive, it's not hostile. They are trying to speak, to communicate, but in a way we don't fully understand. Eli Harper growled. Do not respond, observe. Do not engage. Report only. But Mara could not resist. She knew this was a rare opportunity. The humans were here, alive and intelligent. Perhaps understanding them could prevent disaster. Sir, she said, we should try to communicate. They may not be here to fight. They may just want to explore. We cannot ignore them. Eli paused, his face grim. You are taking a risk, Lieutenant, but proceed carefully. Mara instructed her crew to open a communication channel. The humans responded almost immediately, their words simple but clear. "We come in peace. We are humans. We mean no harm. We only wish to explore and learn." The Zalarian crew stared at the screen. It was astonishing. The humans spoke clearly, calmly, without aggression. Mara felt a strange sense of hope. Perhaps this encounter did not have to end in battle. Luke Mason watched as the aliens responded. Their communication was hesitant, full of caution. He understood why. Humans had been myths for so long. For centuries, species had dismissed them, laughed at the stories. And now here they were in full fleet, moving with confidence and skill. Mara continued to speak with the humans, her voice shaking slightly. I am Lieutenant Mara Voss. I represent the Xylarian fleet. Why have you come here?" Luke's voice came through, steady and firm. "We come from Earth. We have explored our system for centuries. Now we wish to explore the galaxy beyond. We mean no harm. We only want to learn." The Xylarian officers whispered among themselves. This was unbelievable. A race thought to be extinct or never existing at all was here, and they were not attacking. They were intelligent, disciplined, and careful. Mara felt a thrill of excitement and fear at the same time. Eli Harper's hand tightened on the console. "Do not trust them," he said. "They may speak softly, but they are dangerous. Do not underestimate them. Observe only." Mara nodded, but she could not help her curiosity. The humans were unlike any species she had met. Their technology, their precision, their calm confidence, it was unlike anything in the galaxy. "Sir," she said quietly, "they are impressive. I think they are beyond anything we imagined." The humans continued their slow sweep through the cluster, careful not to provoke the Xylarian fleet. They scanned, explored, and communicated. Every move was calculated, every action precise. They were explorers, but also strategists. They were humans, and they were real. As the hours passed, Mara grew more convinced that the stories she had heard as a child were true. Humans had survived, hidden, and evolved. And now they had arrived. The galaxy would never be the same again. Eli Harper's face was pale as he watched the human fleet. They exist," he whispered. "And they are not weak. They are strong, too strong." On Earth, Luke Mason gave his orders calmly. "Continue scans, keep formation, prepare for potential contact with alien fleets, but do not attack unless necessary. Humanity will not be underestimated again." Mara Voss felt a strange sense of awe. For the first time, she realized that humans were not just a story. They were real, and they were capable of changing everything. And she knew, deep in her heart, that the galaxy would soon learn a lesson it had long ignored. Humanity was not a myth. The stars no longer seemed empty. They were alive with possibility, danger, and wonder. And in the midst of it all, humans moved quietly, confidently, leaving the aliens to wonder how a race they never believed in could appear with such power and control. The first encounter had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The human fleet moved steadily through the cluster, each ship maintaining perfect formation. Commander Luke Mason stood on the bridge of the lead vessel, scanning the stars for any signs of danger. The Andarian cluster was vast, filled with strange worlds, asteroid fields, and hidden threats. But humans were ready. Every crew member knew their role, every ship moved as one, and every calculation had been checked twice. They were explorers, yes, but also warriors when necessary. Lieutenant Mara Voss watched from her Xylarian scout ship, unable to take her eyes off the humans. Their presence was extraordinary, and their movements were precise. Even as she tried to analyze them, she realized the humans were not only intelligent but also brave. They moved without fear, like they belonged in space, even in the unknown. "How can a species thought to be a myth be so capable?" she whispered to herself. Eli Harper, on the other hand, was growing restless. "We cannot allow them to continue," he said, pacing in his command center. "They are too strong. They are too clever. We have ignored the stories for too long. We cannot ignore them now." His officers nodded, though some looked worried. The humans were unlike anything they had faced before. Ships that were usually invincible faltered under the unpredictability of the human tactics. Every move seemed calculated, as if the humans had already predicted the Zalarian responses. Meanwhile, deep in the cluster, a small mining colony orbited a gas giant. The miners, mostly Zalarian, were harvesting rare minerals when alarms suddenly went off. Rogue creatures, massive predators unknown to science, had begun attacking the mining stations. The creatures moved quickly, tearing through defenses with ease. The miners tried to fight back, but their weapons were slow and outdated compared to the beasts. Panic spread as communications went offline. On Earth, Luke Mason received the distress signals almost immediately. "Commander," Lieutenant Kai Reynolds said, pointing to the display, "we have incoming distress signals from Zalarian mining colony Z-14. They are under attack." "They may not survive long without help." Luke's eyes narrowed. "Set a course immediately. Prepare for intervention. We will assist them." The human fleet changed direction, moving swiftly toward the colony. Their engines flared, pushing through asteroid belts and debris with precision. Ships split and reformed in perfect timing, cutting through the danger zones without incident. The Zalarian fleet, still observing, could hardly believe their eyes. Humans were moving faster and more efficiently than anything they had ever seen. Mara Voss followed at a distance, torn between duty and curiosity. She wanted to stop them, to warn her fleet, but she was also captivated by their skills. "They are extraordinary," she said quietly. "No one moves like this. No one fights like this." When the humans arrived at the colony, the scene was chaos. The rogue creatures were massive, towering over the mining stations. Their claws and teeth could easily tear through metal, and their speed made them almost impossible to hit. The miners had barricaded themselves in the central hub, but they were trapped. Luke Mason made his decision quickly. "Deploy fighters. Begin evacuations. Neutralize threats without harming the colony infrastructure. Move fast, move smart." Human fighters leapt into the chaos like lightning. They swooped down, engines blazing, avoiding the creatures' attacks with unmatched agility. Energy beams struck the predators, stunning them, knocking them down without killing them outright. Drones moved among the mining stations, helping workers escape and repairing critical systems. Every action was deliberate, every move precise. Mara Voss watched in awe as humans saved lives in a way no other species could. They are protecting them," she whispered. "Not for glory, not for profit. They are saving them." Eli Harper's voice was tight with anger. "This is not just skill. This is something else. They are beyond any race we have encountered. Observe, but do not interfere." As the humans worked, the rogue creatures began to retreat, confused by the human tactics. They had never faced opponents like this before. Humans were quick, clever, and adaptable. Every attempt to attack was met with a counter, every move predicted and neutralized. In less than an hour, the colony was safe. The miners emerged from the central hub, exhausted but alive, staring at the humans as if they were gods. Luke Mason allowed a moment for the miners to recover before contacting the colony leader. "This is Commander Mason of the Terran Fleet," he said. "The colony is safe. We will remain in orbit to assist further if needed. Please inform your people that they are no longer alone." Back in the Zalarian fleet, Mara Voss felt a mix of fear and respect. The humans had saved lives, but they had also demonstrated power. "They are not a myth," she said again. "They are real and they are strong, too strong." Eli Harper clenched his fists. "They cannot continue. They cannot be allowed to gain influence here. Prepare to intercept them if necessary." But Mara had a different thought. She had spent her life following orders, obeying commands, and serving the Zalarian fleet. Yet now she could not deny the truth. Humans were extraordinary. They were brave, clever, and capable of things no one else could do. Maybe, just maybe, they could be allies instead of enemies. The humans remained at the colony for several hours, repairing damage, assisting miners, and scanning the surrounding area for potential threats. Every move was careful and deliberate. They did not leave destruction behind, they left order, safety, and hope. It was a style of power no one had seen before. When the work was complete, Luke Mason addressed his fleet. Prepare to move out. Continue exploration but remain alert. The galaxy is larger and more dangerous than we imagined. Humanity has arrived, and we will move carefully but confidently. As the human fleet departed, the Xylarian commanders struggled to process what they had seen. Mara Voss felt her world shift. Humans had saved lives, outmaneuvered predators, and demonstrated power without aggression. They had rewritten the rules of the galaxy in a single day. Eli Harper's voice trembled with frustration. They cannot exist. They should not exist. And yet they do. We must prepare. They will not stop here. The galaxy will know of their presence, and we must be ready. Mara knew he was right. The humans would continue. They would explore, learn, and grow stronger. And when the time came, no fleet, no species would underestimate them again. As the stars passed by, the human fleet moved quietly, confidently. They had faced danger and shown their strength. They had proven that humanity was not a myth. They were real, they were clever, and they were ready to take their place among the stars. And somewhere deep in the cluster, Mara Voss realized a truth she could not ignore. Humanity was not just strong, they were extraordinary. A species that had been dismissed and ignored had arrived, changing the balance of power in ways no one could predict. The galaxy would never be the same. Eli Harper sat in silence, staring at the stars. He had seen many battles, many fleets, many races rise and fall. But nothing prepared him for this. Humans were different. Their strength was not in sheer numbers or weapons alone. It was in their mind, their unity, and their courage. They were something entirely new. Mara Voss returned to her ship's sensors, watching the humans disappear into the distance. She felt both fear and admiration. The humans had shown that they could survive, adapt, and protect others. They had shown that their legend was real. And she knew deep inside that this was only the beginning. On Earth, Luke Mason stood on the bridge, watching the stars stretch past in faster-than-light travel. "We are ready for whatever comes next," he said quietly. "The galaxy has doubted us for too long. It will not doubt us again." And as the human fleet moved forward, the distant stars darkened with their passage. They were no longer a secret, no longer a myth. They were real, and the galaxy would soon understand their power. The Andarian cluster, once quiet and predictable, now buzzed with tension. Everywhere, species watched, wondered, and feared. A new force had arrived, and it was one that no one could ignore. The humans had saved lives, outsmarted predators, and shown strength without cruelty. They had begun a journey that would change everything. And as Mara Voss and Eli Harper realized, they were witnessing history in motion. Humanity was not a myth. Humanity was the future. And the galaxy would have to adapt or be swept aside. The humans moved carefully through the Andarian cluster, scanning each star system, each planet, and each asteroid field. Commander Luke Mason stood on the bridge of the lead ship, his eyes scanning the displays. Sensors picked up signs of alien life, strange energy signatures, and uncharted debris. Every decision mattered. Every move could lead to discovery or danger. Humanity had waited long for this moment. They had trained, prepared, and planned for centuries. Now they were here, and nothing could stop them. Lieutenant Mara Voss followed at a distance with her Xylarian scout ship. She had watched humans for days, and each moment had left her in awe. They were disciplined, clever, and precise. Their ships moved like living creatures, always coordinated, always prepared. Mara's mind could not fully understand how they did it. No other species in the galaxy moved like humans. Even their communication was strange. Simple words, clear, calm, but somehow commanding respect and attention. Eli Harper was growing impatient. "We cannot allow them to continue unchecked," he said to his officers. "They are moving through our cluster, claiming systems without permission. They are clever, yes, but we must contain them, prepare our fleet for engagement. They will not escape this time." Mara nodded, though she felt unease. The humans were not attacking. They were exploring. They were cautious and careful. Yet the Zalarian fleet wanted confrontation. Mara wondered if the order to fight was wise. The humans had proven they could handle threats far beyond what anyone imagined. Could they be reasoned with instead of destroyed? Meanwhile, Luke Mason received intelligence reports from the scouts. "There are multiple Zylarian fleets moving toward our location," he said calmly. "They are scanning but not engaging yet. Keep formation tight. We do not want unnecessary conflict." Kai Reynolds nodded. "Yes, sir. The Zalarian fleets seem cautious, but they are moving fast. They may try to intercept us." Luke's eyes narrowed. "Prepare the defenses. Keep shields up, but do not fire unless attacked. We are explorers, not conquerors." The first Zalarian fleet appeared over a nearby planet, thousands of ships forming a massive wall of metal and energy. They were armed, their weapons glowing, ready to strike. Eli Harper's command voice echoed across the fleet. "This is your only warning. Leave our cluster immediately or face destruction." Mara Voss gripped the controls. Her sensors showed the humans' response. They were not afraid. Their ships moved in tight formation, shields and weapons ready, but there was no panic. "They are not retreating," Mara whispered. "They are holding their ground." Luke Mason's voice came over the communicator. "We do not intend to fight unless necessary. We come in peace. We only want to explore and learn. Any attack against us will be met with defense, but we do not seek war." Eli Harper's face was dark with anger. "Peace? They come into our space and you call this peace?" Mara shook her head slightly. "They are different, sir. They are not like other species. We cannot predict them with our usual strategies. We must observe and adapt." The Zylarian fleet advanced cautiously, weapons primed. The humans mirrored their movements, anticipating positions, avoiding traps, and keeping the fleet intact. Their coordination was flawless. Ships moved as one, shields overlapping, weapons ready but not aggressive. Even the smaller craft acted with intelligence, flanking, positioning, and scouting. A Zylarian cruiser fired a warning shot, a beam of energy across the void aimed near a human vessel. In seconds, the humans responded, creating a field of energy that deflected the attack without harming the enemy ship. Mara gasped. "They are protecting themselves without harming the fleet. Incredible. They are thinking faster than our systems can predict." Luke Mason watched the display. "Maintain defense, not attack. Show restraint, but be ready. They may test us, but they will respect skill." The Zalarian commanders were astonished. No fleet had ever responded so calmly, so precisely under threat. Every move the humans made was deliberate. Every maneuver predicted the aliens' next step. For the first time, many Zylarian officers began to doubt their own strength. Mara Voss thought of the miners who had been saved. She remembered their fear, their relief, and their gratitude. The humans had come to help, not to conquer. She realized that their power was not just in ships or weapons. It was in their minds, their courage, and their unity. Eli Harper, growing desperate, ordered a stronger approach. "Surround them, cut off all exits, force them to retreat. Do not allow them to advance any further." The Zylarian fleet moved to encircle the humans. Mara watched the humans' response. Luke Mason's ships adjusted formation, splitting, weaving, and reforming with perfect timing. It was like watching a living organism. No gaps, no mistakes. Every movement countered the Zylarian strategies without aggression. "Lieutenant," Mara said quietly, they are not afraid. They are controlling the situation, not reacting. It's as if they know what we will do before we do it." Eli Harper slammed his fist on the console. "They cannot exist. They should not have this level of control. Prepare full-power weapons. The humans did not attack. Instead, they projected a clear message through the universal communication system. We do not seek war. We only wish to explore. If you wish to communicate, we are ready. If you attack, we will defend ourselves. Mara listened, heart pounding. The human's message was calm yet firm. It carried confidence that no species she had known could display. It was not arrogance, it was certainty. They were ready and they were prepared. Eli Harper, furious and frustrated, ignored the message. "Prepare the strike," he barked. "Show them what happens when they ignore our warnings." Before any attack could be launched, Luke Mason made his decision. "If they attack, we will respond. But our priority is communication. Prepare a team for direct contact. I will go myself." Mara Voss could hardly believe it. A human leader was willing to meet face-to-face with the Xylarian commander in the middle of their fleet. "They are brave," she whispered. "They are different. They are not reckless. They are clever." A small human vessel detached from the main fleet and moved toward the Xylarian command ship. Mara's sensors tracked it closely. The humans were calm, precise, and deliberate. They were not moving as if they feared death. They were moving as if they were meant to be there. Eli Harper's officers protested. "Sir, this is insane. You cannot allow them to approach like that." "They are not attacking yet," Eli said, his voice tense. "But if they succeed, the galaxy will never see us the same way again." The human vessel reached the Xylarian command ship. A beam of light projected a holographic image of Commander Luke Mason. He looked calm, confident, and composed. "I am Commander Luke Mason of Earth. We come in peace. We wish to understand your people and share knowledge. We do not seek conflict, but we are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary." The Xylarian officers were stunned. Mara Voss could see their shock. No one had ever approached the fleet like this. No one had ever spoken with such confidence. The humans were not intimidated. They were strong, intelligent, and fearless. Eli Harper felt a pang of fear he could not hide. How can they be so confident? They are only a fleet of ships. How can one man project such power? Mara realized the truth. "It's not just the ships," she said softly. "It's the humans themselves. Their confidence, their intelligence, their unity, it's something else. Something we cannot understand fully." Luke Mason continued. "We know you are cautious. We understand your concern. We wish only to explore and learn. If you allow it, we can share knowledge, technology, and experiences. Together, we can grow stronger. We do not seek war, but we will defend life and freedom wherever it exists." The Xylarian officers whispered among themselves. Mara could see their fear and respect growing. The humans were offering peace, but they were also showing power, skill, and strategy that no one had seen before. Eli Harper finally spoke, his voice quiet but firm. We cannot attack. Not yet. Observe, report, but observe closely. This is unprecedented." Mara Voss breathed a sigh of relief. The humans had not provoked war. They had approached carefully, communicated clearly, and demonstrated strength without aggression. It was a balance no other species could maintain. Luke Mason ended the communication. "Return to your fleet. We will maintain distance until trust is established. Humanity will not be underestimated. Remember that." The human ship returned to the fleet, moving seamlessly back into formation. Mara watched them go, amazed. They had faced the largest fleet in the cluster, approached directly, and survived without a scratch. They had demonstrated power, intelligence, and restraint. Eli Harper paced in his command center. "We have seen enough. They are not a myth. They are real and they are extraordinary. Prepare our fleets for observation only. Do not engage. We need to understand them before any further action." Mara nodded. She knew this was only the beginning. Humans had arrived and the galaxy would never be the same. Their presence alone had changed the balance of power, the way species thought about each other, and the rules of the galaxy. As the human fleet moved through the cluster, calm and confident, Mara realized a truth she could not ignore. These humans were not just survivors. They were pioneers, warriors, and diplomats, all at once. They were capable of greatness beyond anything the galaxy had imagined. And for the first time, she wondered if the Xylarian fleet, with all its power, would ever be able to match them. Luke Mason stood on the bridge, watching the stars stretch past at faster-than-light speed. "We are here," he said quietly. "We are no longer a myth. The galaxy will know humanity." And as the stars darkened with their passage, Mara Voss and Eli Harper understood one undeniable truth. Humanity had arrived, and their time had begun. The human fleet moved steadily through the Andarian cluster. Commander Luke Mason stood on the bridge of the lead ship, scanning the stars with calm determination. The galaxy had watched humans as a myth for centuries, dismissing their existence as a legend. Now the humans were here, and their presence alone was enough to change everything. The Xylarian fleet, once confident, now followed cautiously, unsure how to react. Lieutenant Mara Voss followed from her scout ship. She had observed humans for days, and each moment had left her in awe. They were clever, disciplined, and fearless. She had witnessed them save lives, face threats, and navigate the cluster with unmatched precision. Mara knew she could not deny the truth any longer. Humans were extraordinary. Eli Harper sat in his command ship, gripping the console tightly. "We cannot let them continue without knowing their full strength," he muttered. "Prepare observation fleets. Do not engage unless they attack. We must understand them before making any decisions." The humans, however, did not seek conflict. Luke Mason's fleet moved carefully, scanning planets, stars, and asteroid fields. Every ship maintained perfect formation. Scouts went ahead to analyze planets and anomalies, while larger ships stayed back, ready to defend. Humanity had always prepared for the unknown, and they were ready for whatever the cluster could throw at them. Mara watched as a small human vessel detached from the main fleet, moving toward a large asteroid belt. "They are investigating," she whispered. "They are not attacking, not conquering. They are simply exploring, but with caution and skill that no other species has." The humans reached the asteroid belt and discovered signs of an abandoned alien station. It had been damaged decades ago and left untouched. Luke Mason ordered a team to board the station for repairs and study. Human engineers moved with precision, repairing systems, scanning data, and securing the area. Every action was deliberate, every movement purposeful. The humans did not leave destruction behind, they left order. Back in the Xylarian fleet, officers whispered nervously. Mara Voss felt their tension. "They are not threatening anyone," she said, "and yet their presence alone inspires fear. They are different from anything we know." Eli Harper's voice echoed through the command center. "Do not underestimate them. Observe, report, and prepare. We may need to respond if they show aggression." But the humans showed no aggression. They moved through the cluster with care, helping miners, repairing stations, and documenting star systems. Their actions demonstrated power without cruelty. Mara realized that strength for humans was not just in weapons or numbers. It was in intelligence, unity, and courage. As the humans continued their exploration, a rogue Xylarian pirate fleet attacked a small trading station near the edge of the cluster. The pirates had intended to steal resources and harm civilians, confident no fleet could stop them. But the humans responded faster than anyone expected. Luke Mason ordered the fleet to engage. Fighters launched from the main ships, weaving through space with unmatched agility. Drones deployed to disable pirate engines and shields, leaving them unable to escape. Energy beams struck precisely, neutralizing threats without harming life unnecessarily. In less than an hour, the pirate fleet was defeated, and the station was safe. Mara watched the humans with growing admiration. "They are incredible," she whispered. "They do not just fight, they think. They protect, they calculate, they adapt. No one else moves like this." Eli Harper clenched his fists. They are unstoppable. They are not just strong, they are extraordinary. We must learn from this, but we cannot let them dominate without understanding their motives. After the pirate attack, Luke Mason addressed his fleet. We have proven our capabilities, but we do not seek dominance. We are explorers, defenders, and learners. The galaxy will now know humanity exists, and it will know that we act with intelligence and caution. Continue scans, continue exploration, but remain ready. Humanity will not be underestimated again. Mara Voss realized that the humans were showing the galaxy what true power meant. It was not in intimidation or sheer numbers. It was in courage, intelligence, and discipline. Their actions inspired fear and respect in equal measure. The myth of humanity was now reality, and the galaxy was beginning to understand that. Eli Harper watched the human fleet disappear into a distant system. "They are not just explorers," he muttered. "They are something more. We cannot predict them. We cannot control them." And yet they do not seek conflict. They are remarkable. The humans encountered other species along the way. Some were hostile, believing humans to be invaders. Others were curious, eager to see if the myths were true. In every encounter, humanity showed the same pattern. They defended themselves only when necessary, protected the innocent, and demonstrated intelligence beyond expectation. Mara Voss and her crew observed closely, taking notes, analyzing tactics, and learning. Humans were teaching the galaxy a lesson in a way no one expected. Luke Mason received reports from scouts about an uncharted star system with planets rich in resources. "We will explore it carefully," he said. "Document everything. Ensure safety. And remember, humanity is not just here to survive. We are here to show what we can do when we act with intelligence and courage." As the fleet moved into the new system, they discovered evidence of an ancient alien civilization. Ruins covered entire planets, technology long forgotten, and knowledge lost to time. The humans approached with care, scanning, documenting, and understanding. They did not plunder or destroy. They preserved, learned, and shared knowledge. Mara Voss watched in amazement. "They respect life, knowledge, and history," she said. "Their strength is not just in battle, it is in wisdom. They think, adapt, and act with purpose. No one else moves like this in the galaxy." Eli Harper was silent. "They are beyond anything we imagined. No fleet, no weapon, no species can match them in strategy, intelligence, and courage. Humanity is extraordinary." The humans continued to explore the cluster, moving from system to system, leaving a trail of hope and awe. They had faced pirates, rogue fleets, and unknown dangers, and they had survived. They had demonstrated the qualities that made them unique: intelligence, courage, unity, and adaptability. In the central hub of the Zalarian fleet, Mara Voss reflected on what she had witnessed. She had followed orders, studied tactics, and served faithfully for decades. But now she realized that humans were not just another species. They were a force unlike any other. Their presence alone had rewritten the rules of the galaxy. Eli Harper knew it too. "We have seen their power, their courage, and their intelligence," he said quietly. "We cannot fight them without risking everything. We cannot ignore them. The galaxy will have to adapt or be left behind." Luke Mason's fleet reached the edge of the cluster. Sensors detected no immediate threats, but humans remained vigilant. They had come to explore, to learn, and to show the galaxy what humanity could achieve. Their actions had already inspired awe and respect. They had shown that strength was not just in weapons or numbers, it was in intelligence, courage, and unity. Mara Voss made a decision. She sent a message to Eli Harper. "Sir," she said, "we have observed them closely. They are extraordinary. I believe we should consider cooperation. They are not aggressive, yet they are powerful. The galaxy could learn much from their presence." Eli Harper was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Perhaps you are right, Mara. Perhaps it is time to understand humanity before it is too late." Luke Mason received a signal from Mara Voss, offering dialogue and observation. He responded calmly, clearly, and confidently. We are willing to communicate and share knowledge. Humanity does not seek conflict, but we are prepared to defend life, freedom, and discovery wherever necessary. Together, we can explore and protect the galaxy. The Zalarian fleet paused, unsure how to respond. Mara felt hope. Perhaps humanity would not just be a force of power. They could be teachers, leaders, and allies. The galaxy had underestimated them for too long. Now, humans were real, and their actions spoke louder than any legend. The human fleet continued its journey through the cluster. They scanned, explored, and documented, but also remained vigilant. Luke Mason knew that the galaxy was watching, learning, and responding. Humanity had arrived, and they would no longer be a secret, a myth, or a story told to children. They were real, powerful, and ready to show what they could do. Mara Voss looked at the human fleet disappearing into the distance. They are more than we imagine, she whispered. They are not just survivors, they are the future of the galaxy. Eli Harper nodded. Yes. Humanity has arrived, and the galaxy will never be the same. The stars seemed brighter as the humans moved on. They had faced danger, demonstrated courage, and shown intelligence beyond imagination. They had saved lives, protected worlds, and rewritten the rules of the galaxy. The legend of humanity was no longer a story. It was reality. A race once thought to be weak, insignificant, or mythical had arrived and proved that they were extraordinary. Luke Mason stood on the bridge, watching the stars stretch past in faster-than-light speed. We are here, he said quietly. The galaxy will know humanity. We will explore, protect, and thrive, and no one will ever doubt us again. And somewhere in the cluster, Mara Voss and Eli Harper watched the humans disappear into the distance. They knew a truth that could not be denied. Humanity had come, and the galaxy would never forget them. The myth was gone. The legend was real. Humanity had arrived.